Reploy AI, or RAI, has been crashing really hard recently, being down close to 61% in the past 3 days. And there are 5 reasons, I believe, why Reploy AI has crashed so hard recently. And we're going to go over all of those reasons. But first of all, I want to just tell you guys that I have been into Reploy since probably longer than you. I first knew about it back in November of 2024, and I got into the pre-sale, and I was an investor of the pre-sale. And overall, I liked Reploy. I liked what it was doing, and it seemed really interesting. And I overall liked the mission of the project. Now, the project has, like I said, it's gone down 61% in the past 3 days, which is quite a lot, given that even just recently with some of the bleeding that we've had with Ethereum and overall projects, a lot of projects haven't gone down that hard recently. Like just the other day, the 24-hour was negative 50% on Reploy. Now that's quite a lot. Now the project overall did pretty well for anything you can expect in crypto, especially in such a short amount of time, right? Like the project went up and did a 100x in about 12 days. Okay, so it's kind of unheard of in that sense, and it did really well. So I know a lot of people that got invested from when I first mentioned it in the pre-sale stage and all of that. And a lot of those guys did really well. And considering now they're technically still up on their investment, just because, the pre-sale was, at such a lower market cap compared to initial, right? Yeah, that was 10 days. And then after that, it started to fall. And, that's to be expected with a lot of projects doing this and, tanking pretty hard, 60% or 70% in a lot of cases. And, for the most part, I actually thought that the price was going to maintain on like the $23 million market cap zone and kind of hang around here and just go sideways since then. That's what I was personally expecting and mostly, I guess, hoping for. But the price has continued to tank, and, just recently it has, fallen even more, right? Which is to just really kind of unexpected, but also sad. But there are 5 reasons why I believe the price has tanked so hard, and we're going to go over all of those in this video. Now, the first reason is the gold checkmark on X being gone. Now, if you go to the X page, you can see that the gold checkmark is gone. So a lot of projects, basically every project, if you want to consider yourself legit, you keep a gold checkmark. It's just to show that you are legit. You have kind of done some KYC with X, and it's to show that you're a serious project, right? So that has recently been gone. Now, a lot of people were asking on Telegram, hey, what's going on with the gold checkmark? And there was really no response from anyone. And then a lot of people just started asking like, hey, where's the team? What's going on? Right? And they started raising questions. Now, Ish, who is one of the core team members of the project, has said that the gold checkmark has disappeared because edit. It'll be back relatively soon. Panic for no reason. LOL. So Ish, the core team member, he has said that they apparently edited something, and that is the reason why, which could be legit because that would mean that within a couple days to a week or so, we should see the gold check mark reappearing on the page. So that's one thing to keep in mind, right? That's one of the reasons why a lot of people started freaking out. And they also just started asking questions like, hey, where is the other team members, right? Now, the second one is the updates from the other team members. That is Bev and Rhino, right? You might be wondering, what am I talking about, Bev and Rhino, right? Am I speaking another language here? If you go to Reploy, the website, you go to documentation, and then you go to team, you can see here Albino Rhino, who I'm talking about in this case, Ish, and Bev. These are the core team members, okay? Even though there appears to be others possibly behind the scene, right, that they're contracting out with, right? But overall, this is the core team, and this has kind of been the core team since day one, right? So Albino Rhino, Ish, and Bev. And Albino Rhino is the CEO, Ish is the CML, and Bev is the main dev engineer, right? So now a lot of people have been asking like, hey, where are the updates from Rhino, right? What's going on with them? Where are they? Asking in, for example, the Telegram group asking like, what's been happening? Where is Albino Rhino? Where is Bev? Where are they? Where are the devs? Like, what's going on? And there's still no answers. There's no updates at all from, for example, Albino Rhino. You can see the last post he made or mention was just a Twitter post, which was on last Friday. And then, for example, Bev was, when was the last time Bev posted in the group? Was in March, was the last time he even posted anything. So still no one's heard back from them. Even people asking like different questions to the mods in the group, they'll ask those questions, and then the mods just simply say that they have sent it over to the team and they're waiting to hear back. But it's been multiple days at this point and there has been nothing heard back. So at this point, like a couple people were mentioning that the team is on vacation or whatnot, but still it just doesn't make sense that you couldn't even just pop in for a second or maintain communications with the rest of the team, which is another issue we're going to get into in another reason here in a second. Now, the other reason that I'm thinking the price has tanked so hard is because Ish has started / is being a part of Talk. So Ish is actually not just in Reploy. He is actually also proudly into Talk. Now, it's actually kind of interesting because on his X account, he used to have Reploy.ai and he used to have Reploy in here, and then he took that out. And then I actually mentioned in the Telegram group, I asked him why did he remove it, and now he added RAI back, and then just recently he also added Talk into this. So he is a part of Talk as much as he is with RAI, and he mostly handles mostly marketing from what it seems like, and he actually does a hell of a job when it comes to it, because if you literally look up Talk, you can see almost every kind of top KOL in the space mentioning it. And look, to be honest, it's not really, it doesn't look like a special project. It's like great. It's like you created, it's a messaging app for, I don't know, crypto bros to message each other if that's what they want to do. And it's supposed to be decentralized, whatever, anonymity. And, there's going to be like a VPN dashboard. So to me, it doesn't seem like much of a special project, but the way KOLs are mentioning that it's going to be the next biggest thing, to me is kind of a little bit crazy that some KOLs actually will tie their name to that. Yeah, a little bit beyond me, but or at least like say it how it is. Like, it's not the biggest project ever, right? It's not going to be the next thing. It's simply, just a project that's creating a messaging app, VPN, that type of thing, maybe a couple other features, but I can't see how this is like the next thing, right? But with that said, Ish has done a great job with marketing, as he has obviously a lot of connections in the space, so he's been able to do that. But what kind of sucks though is like he's now switched to being all in Talk. It seems like he's not really in Reploy at all. So with that said, it's, I haven't seen much effort into RAI and Reploy on his end in terms of marketing or anything like that. It seems like all the time and energy is in Cryptalk. That's it. So nothing else. Not in Reploy. Even though it does seem like he is the one behind the Reploy X account, as, for example, if you go to some of the posts in the Telegram, you can see that he is the one behind the posts in the Telegram group, for example. And yeah, and we're going to get into this partnership in just a second. But yeah, so that's another reason. It's like, so one of the core team members is starting another project and looks like putting energy in that project and not really putting it into RAI anymore. So it's like, where are we? We're not really sure. And I have seen other projects and some projects create other projects, but if you do that though, you still have to maintain the momentum on both projects equally. And it looks like they kind of lost momentum on Reploy. Now, the next one is one that, man, I might get in trouble for showing you guys this, but the team doesn't seem to be connected at all. And I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about here. So I actually DM'd Albino Rhino if he was involved with Talk, if he was involved with building Talk. He said, absolutely not. Bev, myself, and the rest of the dev team are not invested associated or connected in any way to that project. Ish is, but Ish doing something like this doesn't impact the day-to-day of Reploy at all, or in any way for that matter. We're not losing any value by him doing that one, is what I'm saying. So I said, yeah, I get that, but it doesn't really look good to create another project in this case. I feel like there's more potential to just be 100% behind RAI and try to go the distance instead of starting at the ground level again to create another project. It makes me a bit nervous as an investor because any FUD comes down on talk, RAI is going to be impacted because everyone knows Ish is behind it. But on the other hand, if it's successful, then that's great. I just can't fathom how someone could have the bandwidth to properly run two projects. He said, yeah, it has no ties with us, bro, is what I'm saying. It doesn't impact us. He even said it won't be successful. There's no substance behind it. We've been clear with anyone that asks that we're not involved in it anyway. So long story short, just to retype, we've said all the things one would expect behind closed doors. He hasn't been active in the day-to-day for quite some time at this point, so it literally impacts nothing on RAI. But yes, it detracts because of perception. Only thing we could do is be more active publicly so people put it together themselves. So I said, is there any way to maybe kick Ish from Reploy so everyone knows he's not involved in any way then? He said, haha, the problem with that is talk hasn't rugged yet. And then he put yet in parentheses. It's certainly an interesting situation. So yeah, and then I messaged him. He read this message and never got back to me. So yeah, it looks like the team is not really connected because Albino Rhino even is thinking that Ish is rugging with talk in another project, and he is mentioning that he's rugging on Ish is rugging with talk. So if you don't know talk, it's the one that's right here and it has 9 million market cap and it's just flat, right? So he's saying that he's potentially rugging this. I don't know. But to me, like, if you say that, like, you know, you work with this guy and you're saying that this guy is rugging another project, but you're still together on this project, Reploy. It's just weird. Like, you wouldn't say that, you know, you wouldn't tell someone like, I'm not a friend with Albino Rhino. I'm just, you know, I was an investor and I was asking him questions and he opened up and just said that to me. So it's like, you just don't say that. You don't even say that even if you think it, right? So it's just, it's a bit weird, but they don't seem to be connected at all. Overall, it just doesn't seem like Bev is really involved at all right now with, you know, at least looking at the Telegram group or looking at the X account, right? And just checking up on it. It's so simple too, because a lot of the FUD has just been like people asking like, hey, is there any update from, you know, Rhino or Bev? Could they just write one message in the, you know, Telegram group? And there hasn't been anything. So it's like, it was so simple with just a quick write up. Like a lot of the price crashing and the reasons for it, I think have been so stupid with just like the gold check mark. Like you just didn't update your subscription and keep the community informed. And then even when the X mark did disappear, like there was no update for hours and hours and hours. There was like nothing, maybe even a day, I don't know. And then even while everyone is asking questions about what is happening with Reploy and, you know, just asking questions in the Telegram group, you know, it was just like quickly coming into the Telegram group for a quick post and like, you know, just pinning it and like that's it. And like the other day they posted this when everyone was freaking out about, you know, what is happening. They're just, you know, making a random X post about, you know, everything that, you know, for example, LLMs and this and that. Like, if you just go to the comments, everyone is asking like, what's happening? You know, because of the price, right? Everything is going down. Like, nothing has been answering. No one has been answering anything, etc. It's just like, why aren't you answering any questions about the project and what's happening? And it's super weird. And this kind of blends into the fifth reason, which is all they have is US based, right? And US based was pumping when Trump was entering office. When Trump was entering office, everything was doing well until he started initiating a lot of tariffs. And now a lot of people are not even hyped about US based anymore because Trump has been, you know, doing a lot of stuff with tariffs and agitating tariffs and, you know, making investors just not understanding what's happening with tariffs with China, et cetera, possibly affecting the economy even more. So that's a whole nother thing. But people aren't even really hyped on US based at this point because how much the economy has kind of tanked. And so that's not even a great thing anymore at this point. And that's kind of the only thing they had was US based, and they were pushing that hard with the LLC in the US, even though none of the team, I believe, are from the US, based on their time zones in the Telegram group from when they've been active, and also just the language that they use. I don't believe any of them are actually Americans, with that said too, which it doesn't really matter. But yeah, and anyone can actually make a LLC technically in the US for the most part. Now, with that said, they basically changed the core idea of their product way too often. And, when they initially started, it was kind of like being the pumped out fun of Ethereum. So you could easily deploy smart contracts. And then it just kind of changed often. Like the whole point was like anyone could just use Reploy and create smart contracts and, help with code. And then over time, they've kind of made it to the point where, it was like they've just changed the product. It seems like over and over again, just to kind of, it seems like they've changed it to what the market is kind of hyped on at the time, and they'll change it to that at the time. So for example, if like agents are hot, they'll switch to agents. If like projects where you can quickly type in a line of code to like, for example, a trade on your behalf, like with agents and stuff, they'll quickly switch to that. So there's been a lot of switching, and I'm not really sure what's going on with the project in terms of like roadmap, where they're headed, and their overall goal and like their aspirations. I'm just not really sure anymore, right? And so that's just another thing. I'm just confused as what their core product even is at this point. Now, the other thing is like just for example, today Ish posted a partnership integrating with NVIDIA. So, and it's just odd. Like there was, no answers in the Telegram group, just a quick post, right? And they just said, our proprietary LLMs and autonomous agents already power some of the most advanced high-performing products in Web3, from real-time blockchain intelligence to self-evolving AI traders. It's just a bit confusing. What does this mean? I don't really know. What can someone tell me, right? And I even asked the questions like, can you say the specifics of this? Does it mean you're just using a NVIDIA GPU? What does it mean? Like I asked this in the Telegram group, no answers. What does this integration exactly mean? You literally just rugged, right? So some people are quite upset. You can see here, right? Everything. Can you explain the FUD around the token? Rugged already. Effing scammers, right? A lot of people are really pissed. Scam token. And there's just no proof about a NVIDIA, partnership. But then here it says integration. So it's like, what are you using? NVIDIA GPU? And you want to post about it? It's like, it's just odd. Even if you were part of the NVIDIA developer program, it seems like most projects can easily apply and just say that they're integrated with NVIDIA, so it doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm just confused about Reploy. I'm confused about what's happening with the future of the project. And I think a lot of investors have been showing this with the sell-off that we've seen here, right? This is a pretty big deal considering a lot of projects, like for example, Vertical AI at least, found a floor since it looks like March. Since March, they've been on this floor and just going sideways. That's a great thing to see. They haven't bled even further from that. Neural is another project that has just been going sideways. They haven't been continuing to bleed. So there's obviously something wrong with Reploy, and the investors have been showing that with their wallets and with their sells. And then if you want to go into micro reasons as to why people are kind of upset, is one is the amount of bots in the Telegram group. Like no one can really tell if like the mods are fully real or not. No one really knows. People ask them if they're a bot because they're just not even sure at this point. And it's confusing. There's plenty of wallets that, for example, will just sell. So for example, they will send funds from an exchange and then they'll sell on a DEX, or they'll do the reverse and they'll buy via DEX and then they'll sell via a centralized exchange. And it's just like they're swapping funds. Like there's so many MEV bots that are constantly, it seems like, extracting value off of the project, which is a bit odd. Or it's like they're market makers that are pumping up the volume a lot to make it look really good. I'm not really sure, but some people have been upset about that as well. So yeah, there's just a couple of reasons why I think Reploy has crashed in terms of the price. I wanted to keep this objective and just be real with you guys, because look, I was an investor of the project. I believed in it. I thought it was going to do well, and it did 100x in like 12 days. So it was absolutely insane in terms of the price action. But just some of the recent stuff with the team, the Twitter, and the Telegram just haven't been going well, and it's just a bit odd. So I wanted to kind of raise my concerns in a hopefully non-objective way, and just state the facts of what's happening. So that's everything. That's all for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.